Now, last night, you may remember that during an interview with Police Minister Bheki Cele, I asked him whether police practiced cadre deployment. Now, Cele said no, but someone who was listening has disputed this. Forensic investigator Calvin Rafadi believes there's certainly an ongoing problem around cadre deployment within crime intelligence in particular. Crime intelligence obviously is a division of the SA Police. Mr. Rafadi joins us now. So, Calvin, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Before we get chatting, I want just to play that clip of my interview with the police minister, just to refresh our memories. Let's take a listen. Is cadre deployment active in the police force? And is that part of the problem? Do you see it as a problem? Is it active in the police force?
What is a cadre deployment in the police?
Employing someone who's connected to the ANC, who's said that they're a member of the ANC.
Which means you have not read on this one. So there are
I'm checking. I'm not stating. I am asking.
There are criteria how a member of a South African police is employed. One, you must be South African. You must be 30 years and younger. You must be matriculant. Now we're mixing with the graduates because they are there. You must be healthy. You must be a person without the criminal record. We must put machines to check if we're a person that have integrity. You must be fit and healthy. We have never asked any political. We have never asked any political affiliation.
So let me ask you this. So let me ask you this for a very simple. Okay, I'm with you. Are you saying to me that you are committed to hiring highly skilled people, regardless of the colour of their skin, their political or religious affiliation, or even their tattoos? Tattoos don't matter?
That exists. That exists. Is not found by me. It's always there, son.
Okay. All right, so that was my interview yesterday. I know that you were listening to that, and you want to take issue with what the police minister said and the way he's portrayed how people are hired, and it's specifically around crime intelligence. Just talk me through it.
Yes. Thank you, Sally, and then good evening and to your viewers. Yeah, I think what the minister said, he said there are no cadre deployments within the subs. But rest assured, this used to be an ongoing thing from as far as 2009, when we had the likes of the late General, Comrade General Africa Kumalo. Now, there are members, and still are members, who are cadre deployed. But those members, they were moved into the crime intelligence sector. Now, with the crime intelligence, another name, we can call them the covert operators. They are not the guys that goes to court and testifies or even hold the docket, but they are a division within the subs division, and most of them, they are still there, and they are still loyal to and aggrieved, by the way, to some of the people that have put them in those positions.
So, I mean, here's my question, though. People who worked in the ANC were involved in covert operations, were spies during apartheid. They had to go undercover. They may legitimately have fantastic experience that can be used. Just because you're affiliated to the ANC or once were affiliated shouldn't exclude you either, though, should it?
Yeah, no, definitely. They didn't exclude them. That's why most of them, they moved them even as far as to PRASA. But now at PRASA, if you can now go and check with PRASA, they've moved all the cadre deployments out of PRASA. But now with subs, they are still there, even at the crime intelligence. They are skilled ones. They've got the skill, they've got the knowledge, and they know how to do what we call collection of information to combat the crime. But also there are family members of those who were also deployed, who were the comrades within the ANC. Because the cadre deployment is an ANC policy and not the government's policy. Now, that's why even in Parliament, that's what they are fighting for now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very interesting that we're having this discussion because we know that the national framework for the professionalisation of the public sector, I think that's been endorsed by Cabinet in October already. It's been officially released, and basically it's pushing to scrap cadre deployment, to break the link between being in public service and having any sort of political affiliation with the ANC. Talk to me about the consequences of having a cadre deployment policy? As you say, it was unofficial, but it was there within crime intelligence. What sort of problems, in your view, does it lead to?
Yeah, like I said, the members, the cadre deployment, the members, they remain so reliable and so indebted to some of their leaders who have influenced them to be in the force. So, like, what I think what we need to put it out there, and also, I know the minister won't like this, to advise him, is that even himself, he's compromised by some of the aggrieved members who are cadre deployed. Because if you look at the crime now, what the minister does is he deals with the crime on the aftermath, but the collection of knowing when the crime will happen, or the collection of covert operators, on collection of information that can help to combat the crime before it happens, it is not there anymore. So, and you get a lot of cadre deployments who are now running rogue units within even SAPS itself, or crime intelligence. And that becomes a problem as well, especially when we go to things like the conference of December, where now shenanigans are brought into, like what the other minister said, the smaller Nyala skeletons are brought on the table. These are skeletons that are driven and investigated by this particular cadre deployments, because they are sitting with the resources. Now, the worrying factor is they do covert operations, even on behalf of other members that they rely on them and they are loyal to them.
So we know that the state capture inquiry very much dealt with the impact of cadre deployment, and Deputy Chief Justice, as he was then, Raymond Zondo, saying that it was a real problem in terms of opening the doorway to corruption. We also know that it was well ventilated how it had an impact on crime intelligence and that there are real concerns. But do you have evidence? You say that obviously some of those people who were deployed because they're cadres remain in the employ. But do you have evidence that there is ongoing problems within crime intelligence because of that? You are a forensic investigator. You know you have to back up what you say with evidence. So where's the evidence?
No, that's a good one, Sally. But like I say, we put it out there. We cannot just bring the evidence. But what I'm saying, it is there, out there, and even politicians, they know themselves that there are so many rogue units within the crime intelligence and divisions. And like what we're experiencing now with a high number of crime, everybody is sometimes with a normal mind or the normal background of knowing the investigation that where is crime intelligence? How can this thing happen without crime intelligence knowing? So what I'm saying is they feel so aggrieved. Now, the normal detectives and the crime intelligence, they are pulling far apart. So I think what the minister also needs to do is to put this particular groupings in one and listen to their grievances. Like we've seen last year, I think in 2021, when the Minister Thandi Modise and the Minister of State Security, Mr. Gungubele, they were held up by members, the cadre members. And, such things, it can show that these people are aggrieved. And there's also an element of sabotage as well.
Yeah, and of course those charges I think were eventually dropped. But yes, we do remember that dramatic evening. You talked to me about tension. You're saying is it between your typical detectives on the beat and those and people in crime intelligence? And you say that there's tension between those two groups?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, and you're saying that until that's resolved, we're going to have an impasse and we're not going to get the crime intelligence we need to bust the cases we need to?
Yes, we cannot, we do not have strong intelligence and strong collections and covert operators, because they play a critical role in combating crime before it can even happen. Like I say, with a normal detective, they investigate the cases on the aftermath, but now the gathering, it is not there. Like, for instance, most of their budget with the crime intelligence, it was cut off. They used to have crime intelligence safe houses in the township. They must know who are the mastermind in within those townships and who are the drug dealers. But the budget have been cut, those houses have been closed, and they also feel aggrieved. But let alone that, I'm not their spokesperson, but what I'm saying, the crime, we cannot sort it out without having these two parties jointly and operating in dealing with the crimes, that the high number of crime that we're experiencing in our country.
All right. Well, thank you. Very interesting insights. That, of course, was forensic investigator Calvin Rifati pointing to his concern he has that previous cadre deployments that remain within crime intelligence could be a problem. He didn't give me enough specific evidence, but I think nevertheless raising some interesting talking points.